We know it as Earth, yet in reality, it's a blue planet, with ocean covering over 70% of its surface. As we push technological boundaries to explore its darkest and deepest extremes, we're still revealing some of the most fascinating marine secrets closer to home. Hidden in the Southern Hemisphere is one of the world's best-kept marine secrets. And it's on the front doorstep of one of the world's most livable cities, Melbourne. In my backyard, Port Phillip Bay. It's the Bay of Plenty, a bustling marine metropolis home to over 1,300 plant and animal species, over 80% of which are found nowhere else on Earth but here on the southern shores. This impressive diversity is due to its location at the centre of the Victorian coastline, where cooler waters of the south meets and mixes with warmer waters of the north. The result is a rich and dynamic temperate marine environment that is decorated in a mosaic of colourful habitats that include lush expanses of seagrass meadows, remnant mangroves, kelp forests, vibrant rocky reefs, sponge gardens, and shimmering sandy plains. It's an environment full of surprise, breathtaking beauty, and is home to some of the world's most charismatic marine mammals. At its heart, amongst the swaying canopies of seaweed, are dragons. Weedy sea dragons, fairy tale-like fish that sparkle like jewels. Despite being found close to shore, we still know so little about them, how long they live for, and the many secrets that surround their unique breeding habits. And it's right on Melbourne's front doorstep. It's a surprising secret that few people know until now. Journey with me as we discover a marine environment like no other, its importance, and how it's all connected. From one of the planet's most deadly animals, fish that fish for other fish, and fathers that give birth to the young. Here, seeing is believing. And believe me, it's like nothing you've ever seen. It's winter in Port Phillip Bay, Fierce storms and winds lash the coastline. While life on the street slows down, the bay comes to life above and below the water. Ocean giants detour from their migration along the coast, while the local residents are feeding and gorging themselves in preparation for the coming breeding season. The strategies used to feed are as varied as they are impressive. A frenzy is triggered by a giant bait ball of fish that enters the bay. It's all about safety in numbers, and they move as one, confusing predators and making it difficult to target individuals. But there are strategies for breaking apart this tight formation of fish. The best way is to splinter the bait ball. This happens with attacks from below and above the water. Above, they're targeted by Australasian gannets. From the equivalent height of a 6-storey building, these streamlined seabirds spear the bay's surface at speeds of over 100 kilometres per hour into the tightly packed school of fish. Double-thick skulls act like crash helmets, and built-in airbags protect their bodies from the impact. It's a topside attack that sends a fish into a frenzy. If they miss their target, their wings turn into fins so they can swim around for another chance to catch the fleeing fish. Working together can increase your chances of success in securing a meal. This is the strategy of the bay's marine megafauna, dolphins. Although there are 3 species of dolphins that call these waters home, it's the common dolphins who have been attracted to the commotion of the bait ball. They travel with great speed to make the most of the bounty on offer. Working as a unit, they use sound to coordinate their onslaught, a combination of clicks and whistles that enables them to locate and lock onto their target, forcing the fish into smaller schools or driving them into the shallows. Once corralled, they take it in turn to plunder the spoils. Just as quickly as the feeding frenzy starts, it's all over. Some of the bait ball is still intact and are lucky enough to see through another day. For some, it's easier to hunt alone, and with a stargazer, the best way to get a meal is to hide from it. A sand assassin, the stargazer uses its pectoral fins like shovels, concealing itself in a sandy bunker. Its mouth is located at the top of its head, and its eyes are like periscopes, looking upwards, gazing not at the stars, but at a passing meal. When a target approaches, it launches with lightning speed, swallowing its prey whole. What looks like nothing can become a gaping, hungry mouth. By the time animals see a stargazer, it's too late and it's lights out. Heard about the one that got away? Nothing escapes this angler. It's the master of disguise, with camouflage so brilliant it can sit out in the open and not be seen. The camouflage is so elaborate, it even extends across their eyes. Silent and still, it either waits for prey to pass or lures their victims by casting a rod and worm-like bait that is fused to their face. And in the bay, there is no such thing as a free feed. Any fish that tries to take the bait is swallowed whole. No time for chewing. Its expandable mouth acting like a vacuum to suck up its prey. From beginning to mouth-filling end, it's all over in a split second. Sea dragons are one of the few animals that actually move not to be seen. Like floating seaweed, they sway with the push and pull of the tides. Weed-like appendages along their elegant body, helping them to disappear into their surroundings. Their target? Shrimp that dart about in the water. Fast-moving fins on the side of the head help them manoeuvre, while fins on their back propel it forward. When within striking distance, the dragons use their long straw-like mouth to suck them up. Sea stars actively seek out their prey. At nearly 1/2 metre, the 11-armed sea stars are the largest on the southern shores. They're found throughout the bay and move around on hundreds of sticky tube-like feet located under their arms. These feet are not only used in locomotion, they help them find food and feed. Shellfish such as scallops are their prized delicacies. However, if they're quick, they can get away using their jet-powered escape system, created by compressing its two shells together and forcing water out. This one was lucky. Others, not so. The vast expanses of shimmering sandy plains may look like a barren desert, but they're anything but deserted. On and under the sand are a range of creatures that are anything but plain. Flounder mould themselves to the undulations of the sand. Flathead hide from the lure of a fisherman's hook. Stingarees use the sand as a cloak of camouflage. Gobies blend into the background, while others simply disappear. Hidden within the grains of sand are a range of animals, but cowfish know how to blow their cover by blowing jets of water which exposes them, and they're quickly sucked up. It's also here that one of the world's greatest migrations can be seen. It's an orange army of marching giant spider crabs. Their mission? To molt. At their peak, there are thousands, as far as the eye can see. They climb over each other, often stacked 10 deep. Like most crustaceans, these crabs have a hard suit of armour, which is problematic when you need to grow. To overcome this, they crawl out of their old shell and grow a new, bigger one. This happens almost simultaneously throughout the army. But it comes with great risk, as it takes time for the new shell to harden, making their soft bodies vulnerable to the mouths of hungry hunters, including the impressive smooth ray. It's the largest stingray in the world, with a wingspan of up to 2 metres across and weighing around 350 kilos. Like a stealth bomber, these rays swoop down on the army, sending its troops fleeing in all directions. The ray's specially designed teeth crush and grind the crab's soft shell to get to the sweet flesh. When the crab's mission is complete and the army have molted, they disappear back into the depths of the bay, leaving in their wake a battlefield littered with casualties and empty skeletons. While the aggregation of spider crabs appears to be seasonal, there's another aggregation that can be seen all year round. It's a bachelor pad of Australasian fur seals, and Port Phillip Bay is one of the few places where you can get close to and even swim with these cheeky marine mammals. On a tiny man-made structure called Chinaman's Hat is where you'll find this collection of male misfits that include young pups and teenagers who have been kicked out of home, to older males who are too injured or weak to fight for breeding space outside the bay. Above the water, they seem clumsy as they jostle for position on the crowded platform, which can be dangerous considering some of the older seals measure up to 3 metres and weigh over 300 kilograms. Below the water, these playful seals transform into dynamic and streamlined torpedoes, tumbling and turning like underwater acrobats. It's a game of who's the boss, with plenty of barking and baring teeth to test each other out and assert their dominance in the group. But mostly it's a carefree existence for this bunch of boisterous boys, and anything goes. The youngsters always trying to show each other up and launching themselves clear of the water. All this playing around can be tough and hot work, especially when you're wearing 2 fur coats. And these warm-blooded animals need to, when water temperatures drop below 12 degrees. The first fur coat is sleek and velvety, insulating from the cold. The top, heavy and coarse, forming a waterproof layer like a wetsuit. It helps to keep the seals warm, which is why you'll often find them floating on the surface with fins up in the air to cool themselves down after their underwater antics. Squid have an enviable life that fur seals can only dream of. When they come together, it's both male and females, and it's to mate. By congregating together, it increases their chance of reproducing. But theirs is more urgent than most. when your life is only a year long, you need to mate as many times as you can before the jig is up. Competition is fierce for the females. Males try and seduce their long-armed lovers with complex courtship postures and dazzling colour displays that pulsate across their bodies. If she's impressed with his colour-changing ability, like this female, they lock tentacles and mate mid-water. The process lasting only a matter of seconds. She will then lay her egg strings in the communal cluster with other females of the school. Each egg string has between 2 to 6 eggs inside. A canopy of kelp acts as a safe creche for the eggs, while the surge of the water provides ventilation for the developing squid. Females during the breeding season will mate with multiple males and lay numerous egg strings. The energy they expend and invest in their young is intensive, and both sexes will die soon after. Compared to squid, fish in general have longer lives and multiple breeding seasons, and the weedy sea dragon is no exception. The arrival of spring and warming of the waters provides a cue for males to seek out a female and mate. Amongst the shelter of the seagrass, an elaborate courtship ritual is just beginning. Having found a suitor, the couple begin a romantic underwater ballet. They mimic each other's movements, tails curling, and with gentle prodding from the male to stimulate the female to release her eggs. As the sun sets, the duet dance into the darkness, the night providing a veil for what scientists have yet to document, the egg exchange between the female to the male. The darkness brings out weird and wonderful animals. Here you'll find one of the world's most deadliest animals. Colour-changing chameleons and animals that defy explanation. At dusk, the first to emerge from its rocky lair is a jet-powered giant. It's the Maori octopus, measuring over 1 metre in size. Its 8 arms covered in a series of 1,600 suckers, 200 on each arm. Sensory organs on the suckers can smell prey, hiding amongst the kelp and deep under ledges. This swell shark has just made it on the octopus radar, and the chase is on. Using jet-powered propulsion, the octopus outswims the shark. It's an 8-armed attack. The swell shark is no match for the strength of the octopus, trapping its prey with its net of arms and dragging it back to its lair. What the blue ring octopus lacks in size and strength, it makes up for in potency. Its deadly weapon? A toxic saliva so potent it paralyses prey. This makes it one of the planet's most deadliest animals. Impressive for an animal with a head no bigger than a thumbnail and weighing a mere 40 grams. With no bones, it has the ability to hide in tiny cracks and crevices, slowly emerging to launch its assault on passing victims. Once secured, a bird-like beak then bites through the shell of its victim, releasing its venomous saliva. TTX, a deadly neurotoxin that paralyses prey so its beak can rip and tear at will. Special digestive enzymes liquefy the body parts and the food is digested through the brain. If a mad scientist tried to invent the ultimate predator by combining tricks and powers from across the animal kingdom, they'd probably come up with a cuttle. It's a colour-changing, jet-powered illusionist equipped with retractable tentacles. It relies on its ability to change colour and texture to sneak up on prey. An interesting strategy for a colour-blind cuttle. It remains stationary while creating waves of pulsating colours and patterns across its body. Fish and other admirers aren't even safe from a distance. Retractable feeding tentacles shoot out from their mouth at lightning speed, taking prey by surprise. Suckers positioned at the tip of the tentacles make sure that no admirer gets away. With death, there is new life. As the season changes and the water begins to warm, the bay's various habitats become a nursery for animals large and small. In the marine environment, most young are left to fend for themselves. Lush seagrass meadows are the nursery of the sea, providing a safe refuge for a wide range of animals. Despite its name, seagrass is actually a flower, the only flower that can live underwater. They're some of the most productive habitats in the bay. They also play a vital role in looking after the health of the bay by recycling nutrients, stabilising the sediments, and protecting the coastline against erosion. Some animals prefer the rigid protection of rocky reefs. The various cracks and crevices provide an abundance of well-protected areas for the animals to safely lay their eggs. A camouflaged egg case protects a range of sharks and rays, including the Port Jackson shark, from the mouths of hungry hunters while they develop. These leathery egg cases are superbly camouflaged amongst the rocks and seaweed. After laying her eggs, the female Port Jackson shark will grab them in her mouth and carefully lodge them into tight spaces between the rocks. The spiral shape of the egg case wedges them in place and prevents them from being swept away. It will be her last parting gift to the young. Fueled by a nourishing egg sac inside, the young hatch over 10 months later. And without parental care, they swim off into the big blue, all alone. Parental care in the marine environment is extremely rare, especially amongst fish. Given the strange form of the weedy sea dragons, it's not surprising they do things a little differently, especially when it comes to reproduction. Traditional roles have been reversed. It's the female who gives the eggs to the male to take care of. She transfers 200 to 300 bright pink berry-like eggs onto the male's spongy tail. It's something that scientists are still yet to document or capture on film. Here the young will develop under the careful watch of their father until they're ready to hatch. This baby dragon is the first one to hatch, tail first, as it tries to wiggle its way out of the egg. The rest will soon follow. From the moment they're born, they're out on their own and vulnerable to predators. Luckily, they have their trademark weed-like growths, helping them to disappear into their surroundings. The male seahorse takes it to an entirely new level, with the male giving birth to the young, the only male in the animal kingdom to do so. After an elaborate underwater ballet, the female transfers her eggs to the safety of the male's pouch, where he incubates them. After approximately 30 days, the male then gives birth to baby sea ponies, with the young comically expelled from the pouch in all directions. Using their monkey-like tail, they cling on to the nearest object they can grab, which includes other baby seahorses, as they wait for the currents to take them to their new home in the bay. And there are many habitats which marine life, such as sea ponies, depend on. There needs to be, to cater for the enormous variety of life that call these waters home. Although they seem to operate independently, all the habitats are interconnected. They play a vital role in keeping the bay healthy and productive. Remnant mangrove forests, with snorkel-like roots, filter pollutants from the bay, trap silt coming off the land, and prevent the smothering of sensitive habitats such as seagrass meadows. Vibrant sponge gardens carpet hard surfaces in a kaleidoscope of colours and filter the water through their many pores, expelling clean water back into the bay. Even we benefit. The towering kelp and seaweed forests that extend their fronds to the surface trap energy from the sun and convert it to food and oxygen, which we then breathe. We eat the life found here, use its waters as a playground, and live along its shores. The bay is also a brilliant teacher. It's efficient and it reuses everything it creates. What is waste from one animal is a valuable resource for another. The empty shells of sea snails are even recycled into homes for hermit crabs. What it can't reuse is the waste that we make. Although the armour plating of the sea dragon can protect it from the mouths of hungry predators and even a playful seal, it can't protect it from this. Impacts from above the water filter down below the water. It's all connected, and we all have an impact whether we live along the coast, in the countryside, or in the city. One of the biggest threats is litter. It's a silent serial killer. The litter doesn't die with the animal, it's released back into the environment. And here's the good news. It's the little things that we can do to make a huge difference. Cleaning up our act is easy. By putting rubbish where it belongs, reusing bags and bottles, we can make an enormous difference. It's only when we know can we truly care. And as you've seen, there's a lot to care about. Many mysteries remain. We still don't know where the mass of spider crabs disappear to after their migration to the shallows, or how a colourblind cuttle can change colour, or how the fairy tale-like weedy sea dragon transfers her eggs to the male's tail. Port Phillip is a truly spectacular underwater wonderland, filled with a staggering variety of life. Who could ever have imagined that such a thriving marine metropolis could be found in a capital city, let alone a city on the cooler southern shores? Melbourne is not only one of the world's most livable cities above the water, but below it too. What is truly exciting is that we have barely scratched the surface of what this beautiful bay has to offer. Every day we're learning more and more about the weird and wonderful life that characterises this marine metropolis. This is just the beginning of our voyage to explore the unique wonders of this diverse environment. It's a fascinating and colourful adventure that promises to introduce us to even more mysteries. The more we explore, the more we will learn about the bay, the planet and ourselves, learning to love it, live with it and protect it.